friends, and welcome back to Lemon Tree Corner. My name is Heather if you're new here, and we do crafty things. So this is kind of a behind the scenes in my studio. I make purses and bags primarily, but also do crochet and other crafty things. So come along for the journey. This week we are back to making a new bag in the year of bags. So this week we have another fun bag for you, if it'll focus. Here, let's do it this way. It's called the Tower Crossbody bag by So Sweetness again, and it got an A-. Now the first time I made this one, I tried to alter it and make it smaller. You know me, story of my life. So we're gonna make this as written this time. So I'm excited to try that. And we've got some beautiful fabrics this week. This is another cotton & steel fabric, which is beautiful. It's got these flowers on it. It's really pretty. And I have a little bit of the Moda Grunge to go along with it. I think this is gonna be maybe just the pockets. I'm not sure what my intention was with this, other than they go together, so I might have pulled it out for that. But we also have this beautiful Tula pink fabric, which is gonna be the top accent, and probably the inside as well. And you can see that the Moda goes with that as well, because there's a few little tangerine doves in there, or sparrows, or whatever they are. So I'm just not sure which zipper color to go with. I might go ahead and do this one on the front to tie in with that Tula pink fabric, and we might do this one on the interior. And there's two styles we can do. You can see here, this one has a different accent fabric at the top. It could be cork or cotton. And this one is just the whole thing is out of that fabric. So I think I want to do the accent fabric. And yeah, I'm not sure which one to do now. Conundrum. Yeah, I'm really not sure why I put this one in here. So either I can do the accent fabric, is this one up at the top, which might not go as well. It's unexpected, let's put it that way. Or I could do this one up at the top because it's such a small piece. Those two go much better together, but just not sure if that's the look I'm going for. So I guess we'll need to figure this out pretty quickly so we can put this bag together. But it's very much like the dot dot dash bag, except I want to have the accent fabric on this one instead of doing it all in the one fabric like I did for that one. This is going to be the last regular weekend I have before the 3-day weekends start for the summer. So we're going to take it easy and do this smaller size bag, and then we'll get into the more complicated bags over the summer when I have that extra day to focus on making everything. And I'll take you along for some other odds and ends throughout the week. So go ahead and grab your water or a cozy beverage, and let's get to work. Boy, has today been challenging. My back is killing me, and I feel like we've just been running errands all day, which, you know, for a lot of people, a normal Saturday is running errands. But, yeah, I got other stuff to do today besides running errands. So now we're finally sitting down to get to work on our pattern. Since I marked up the other pattern pieces with my weird modifications, I decided I'm going to go ahead and redo these pattern pieces. So I'm going to get out our X-Acto knife, get these all cut up, and I am going to go ahead and redo this so that I have both of the fold pieces. So we got the dishes done, we got the car washed, we got my husband's car taken for an oil change, we got some of the laundry done. So we've gotten a lot of stuff done today. It's just, you know, I like to beat myself up over the fact that I haven't started sewing yet and it's 3:30. But, you know, we've had other stuff to do. I'm just happy that starting this Friday, I will be home on Fridays. So that's nice. That should really help us out for the summer. Well, I just finished at home in Mitford, which was wonderful as always. Yeah, I just remember checking this out from the library, and I think it's the same audiobook. And yeah, it's just wonderfully narrated. Everything was great about it. And if you have a chance, I would highly suggest it. So it's At Home in Mitford by Karon. It's a lot more churchy than I remember it being. I don't know why. He's a pastor, so of course it's got some churchy stuff in there and Bible verses and stuff like that. So if that's not your jam, then probably not the book for you, but just very heartwarming. I thought it was a murder mystery series. There wasn't a murder mystery, so I'm not sure if I'm just confusing that with the Cat Who books again. There was a crime in the thing, but that wasn't really the main crux of the book. And I know she has more. So yeah, I will look up what the next book in the series is. Yeah, it's just really well written, and I love all the characters are very, very charactery. So we're leaving an opening along the lining so that we can turn the bag out through the lining. So we will do this pocket the way she wants us to. Well, it turned out nicely. That's about one of the nicest ones I've ever done. I like that. Then we might replace our old method with this one because it's nice and tight around here. I like that one. Okay, and now we're going to take our pocket piece, line it back up down here, and then because we're going to leave an opening here, we have to not sew the thing totally shut. So we are going to sew here. I'm going to go ahead and sew across the top of this pocket just so that it doesn't pull. I feel like it's going to pull. And then we need an opening 6 inches, which is exactly the size of my ruler. I will mark that. And then we will go ahead and sew pocket together. There's a pocket. I'm gonna iron it once again because these are still kind of wrinkly and driving me crazy. Now the trick with this one is we gotta cut some of this bulk out of here. We do not want all this bulk in here, so we're going to try and cut the foam piece without cutting this outside area here. So now when we push this through, we should be able to do that more easily without all that bulk in the way. So now we're going to push this through and iron it Other side, and get this seam as tight as we can on this part. So we're going to get this as tight as we can. I really don't want any of this fabric to show through, so I'm really going to pull it to the other side so that when we sew the zipper in, you're just seeing the orange, you're not seeing any of this teal. Okay, another interesting detail about this pattern, if I can get you straight here, is that we have this little accent piece that's going to go over here. Now this is optional. You don't have to do the accent piece if you don't want to. The reason we can't just cut here is because we have the zipper. So we have to sew the accent piece on top. So what we did was we just press this under by 1/4 inch, and we're going to line it up like right with that, the top of the zipper there. Well, that worked out nicely. So I was just really careful to line this up here, so when you look at it straight on, you really don't see that teal, which is nice. We're going to cut these off even with our foam. And like I said, I just basted all the way around there. So some very cool features in this bag that don't add a lot of time to the bag. I mean, that did not add a lot of time at all, and it's optional. You can make this bag without this little panel detail if you want. You don't have to add that. I thought it would be nice because when we get to our little side things here that we're going to attach, it just adds that nice contrast. Although I could have done these side things in this orange as well. So could have done those either way. Okay. And then for these, we're going to sew them back to back, right sides together. Like that. And we are going to, now here's the thing, these are fiddly. These are optional. You do not need to add these at all. The main reason I want to add them is because I really love the look of the bag with the little accents. So that's why I'm doing it. It's a lot easier to do in the cork, because the cork you're just gluing the two pieces together and top stitching. With the cotton you have to stitch it and then turn it inside out and then top stitch it, which is a bitch. So we're going to leave a 2-inch opening along the top straight edge, and then we're going to turn it inside out, or right side out. And you're really going to have to push those corners out with your chopstick. So you want to get some nice definition, because these are little accent pieces that are going on the outside of your bag, and you want them to look very crisp and clean and pointy. So we're just going to take the time to push and push and manipulate those corners out.
I see a light in your eyes. I follow you so damn foolishly. You'd be the sweetest goodbye. Give me a heart trip exclusively. Take one step like this song in my head. It makes sense if you jump in If I could, I would give you the moon. Say stop if I'm coming in too soon. Colliding like celestial bodies. Oh, oh. Celestial bodies. Celestial bodies. Oh, oh. Celestial bodies. Celestial bodies. Oh, oh. Inside your heart lies a pearl.
Keep forgetting to hit the record button. Okay, so we put our exterior inside our lining. We made sure that our pockets are not on the same side. So we got one pocket on that side and our other pocket on this side. This pocket is open because this is where we're birthing the bag from. And then we're just gonna line up our side seams. We're gonna make sure our strap is way tucked in there, not gonna be sewn in anywhere. And then we're just gonna line up our side seams here. Get this whole thing manhandled into submission. Okay, now the fun comes. We're gonna pull the bag through our little thing here. So I'm gonna start with the exterior. Just gentle, gentle, gentle. Now I have seen this trick before, which is nice because then you don't see the seam in the lining. But usually it's a bigger pocket than this. So if you're doing like a tote bag with a big giant pocket, then there's plenty of room to birth the bag. This actually wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Alrighty, it's all done. Just gotta clip some renegade threads there. So very cool. Got our bag, our zipper. I do feel like this whole zipper section here up at the top is once again too short. I would rather have the zipper a little further in than being this close to the top. So being this close to the top really just doesn't work for me with the structure of the bag. The zipper is too close to the top. It's not going to hold its shape as well. So I probably will alter the pattern. So yeah, this really bothers me with the zipper panels. And because she had us top stitch under the zipper, now the zipper is curling up like this. So that's very frustrating and lovely, lovely. I have a raw edge here because with the 1/4 inch seam allowance at the top, that really doesn't leave a lot of fudge room. And obviously this had frayed a little bit and wasn't lining up completely. And so I have this spot and I really can't undo the whole thing at this point. If I had noticed it before I did the top stitching, that would have been fine. I could have tried to go back. So all I can do at this point is add a little fray check to stop that from going anywhere. And that means that this bag is not sellable. I think it's a super cute bag. It's got a lot of good qualities. I would just want to change 1 or 2 things there. So it is now 5:50. We are going to give ourselves that serotonin check. And I'm going to have to add all of this up now. 15, 60, 30, and 216. So 321 divided by 60. Oh, that's really good. That's only 500.35 hours. That's a really good time, especially for the bags we've been making lately. Of course, this is a little bit smaller than the bags we've been making. This might become my bag. It just kills me when it's going so well and then at the very second to last step, something like that happens. It's really annoying. Plus the top stitching here, I feel like I had to go really tight with the top stitching because this was so close. So this might just become my purse. It is a good size. I think it'll fit my wallet and everything. I don't normally like the crossbody strap, but it's just kind of bulky if you're not going to use it as a crossbody strap. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no, we're twisted. Oh boy. It's been a day. Is that just because it's... Oh, good. Oh, I'm like, I thought I checked it. Okay, so it's not really twisted. Okay, so obviously it's a prototype, and it's large dreams to think that the prototype is going to be sellable. So I'm always happy when it is, but that's not a regular occurrence. I gave this bag an A+ originally. I'm going to drop that down, or A-. I'm going to drop that down to a B+. Because if you are actually making it with all the elements, it's a little fiddly. I'm going to put that on there. A little fiddly. Now, what I'm going to do for future is I'm going to make this line a little bit lower, because I just feel like this top panel is just way too short. So I am going to draw that down a little bit. Where's our pencil? Here's our pencil. It's not going to interfere with the pocket. I mean, the pocket's way down in there. So I got lots of room to play here. So let's see, if I even made that like an inch lower, it'd still have plenty of clearance with that pocket. So let's do that. Let's make it an inch lower than it is. It's basically an inch clearance now, or an inch 25 right now, which is really annoying. So we're going to go down another inch. So next time I make the bag, this top panel is going to be longer, which I think is really going to help. This week we are working on pricing our bags, so I wanted to show you how that process goes and just talk a little bit through pricing, which is a difficult subject, definitely a demoralizing self-esteem killer for most of us who have to price our handmade products. So I wanted to go through that. So you will recognize my project sheets, which have all of this information on it. So basically what I do is I take the first part of that project sheet and I double them up on a page. I think I'm just gonna film some footage and put it up here in the corner so you can follow along with me without me having to lift it up like that. So let me pick a good example here. Okay, so let's start with one of the ones that I have filled in completely, which is the Clydebank tote. So first of all, where'd that sheet go? Oh. First of all, what I'll put on the screen is a list of bag supply prices. So I firstly price out what the fabric costs, the interfacing, the hardware, other things like that, all the actual materials that I use for the bag. And I break those down, especially the fabric. I look back at the pattern and see, okay, obviously I didn't use a whole yard of fabric for the exterior and the lining. So how much fabric did we really use? And in some cases it's a fat quarter, in some cases it's half a yard of fabric. So firstly, I drill down and get to the exact specifics of what the materials for the bag cost. So that's the first thing I do. And then in this example, you'll see for the Clydebank, I had the interfacing, the flex foam, the fabric, the thread, the zippers. So I didn't actually have any hardware for this bag other than the zipper. So my total supply costs for this was $51.38. And then what I would do is calculate, obviously kept track of the amount of time it took me to make the bag. So I was just recently on a discussion on Facebook where a lady had made the poolside tote, which we just made a couple weeks ago, and was talking about how much would I charge for this. You know, the rule of thumb is to do 3 times the material costs, and that's what you would charge for your bag. And she said that brought her up to $90. But she didn't feel comfortable charging $90? Would anyone feel comfortable paying $90 for this bag? And a whole discussion like that, which goes on in many Facebook groups, in many handmade groups across the country, and people saying, you know, $90 is really not that big of a deal. I pay $90 to get a mani-pedi, and that only lasts for a week or two. You know, all good rationales for why $90 is not too expensive to charge. And it really just depends on your customer. Are they willing to pay $90 for that bag? Is it something unique? You know, I think about myself, what I'm willing to pay $90 for. And then one person put in the comments, which is the crux of this whole thing, which is, yeah, charging $90 doesn't seem unrealistic, but is anybody actually going to buy it at $90 given everything that's out there in the world, the fast fashion, the things made by little underpaid children in other countries, the things you can get at Walmart for 20 bucks. And so that's the crux of the whole problem here. How do you charge a price that's going to be sustainable for you to make the items as a business and actually make money off of the items while still having it be a price somebody's willing to pay? Because it's great to say somebody should be willing to pay $90 for this bag, and then the bag sits there for 5 years and you've gone to 15 craft fairs and nobody's bought the bag and it's just sitting there. So that's the question, and that's where the self-esteem comes in, because how much can you actually charge for the bag? Now, what I do here is that I ideally would like to give myself $20 an hour for making the bag, which is not unreasonable. I make much more than $20 an hour in my day-to-day job. So that's really giving myself a decrease in hourly rate here. But this bag took me 9.2 hours to make, which means the labor cost for this bag would be $184 just for the labor. That's not including the supplies. So the total cost for me making the bag, if I was to get paid for my time, is $235, which is outrageous. I'm not paying that much. Nobody's paying that much for this bag. So then we get into the whole what's realistic. So here I have another one, which you guys just saw me make, which is the Sunshine Crossbody. And this one, I didn't even write down my labor time, my costs, because I'm not going to get that back. So basically at this point, what I'm looking at is just getting my supply costs back. So you'll see here that I totaled everything up. The total supply cost is $34 for this bag, which means I need to charge more than $34. Obviously that doesn't include the 7.25 hours it took me to make the bag, nor does it include the time it took me to take the photos, edit the photos, create the shop post, you know, put out the social media, advertising the bag, doing a craft fair, anything like that. So that doesn't take into account any of those other time costs of having a shop. And then what I usually do is I go to Etsy or online and I do a search for the name of this bag, and I look at what other people are charging for the bag. Now what I like to do is go to Etsy sites that actually have sales, because it's one thing to say this person's charging $40 for this bag. It's quite another thing to see, oh, this person's actually sold this bag several times at that price. So that's like a reasonable price that people are paying for the bag. So I went through and you'll see here quite a few prices, including one for $105, $70, $40, $68, $39.95, $30. So I just kind of looked at all those prices and I dropped the really high ones and the really low ones, and then I come up with this middle of the road number, which is about $37, $38. So that's what I'm charging for this bag. I decided to go with $38. It's a little higher than the supplies that I paid for the bag, So it's a profit margin of $4, which, if you know profit margins, is like ridiculously low. So that's where we're at with pricing bags. So putting off pricing bags because sometimes it's just, you know, it's very demoralizing and it doesn't feel good to realize that you're really not going to be getting back the labor that you put into the bag. So it's really hard to make this into a sustainable business. And I just wanted to get on here, as uncomfortable as it is to talk about money, and just put it out there, because it is something that every handmade business person struggles with, is pricing the products, not selling yourself too short, not undercutting the market, because if we're all trying to make a living selling handmade products and you're like, oh, it's just a hobby, I'm going to sell it for $10, then you're undercutting the prices that all of us are trying to sell our bags for, which is not a hobby for us. We're trying to make it a business, a profitable business. So there's a lot that goes into pricing, which is why I tend to put it off until the last minute. So what I need to do now is go through the new bags that we just made and come up with a reasonable price for that. So I'm going to have to price out how much fabric, all the supplies I used, what those supplies cost, and do some research on what other people are selling the bags for. So that's what's up next before we can put them in the shop and, you know, come up with a reasonable price for each of these bags. So thank you for dealing with the cringeworthy topic of money. I know that that's not a topic we all love to talk about, but it is the nature of having this business, is thinking about money and costs and time and all of that stuff. So just wanted to be transparent with you guys about this. And if any of you are watching these videos because you want to make bags or you want to start a handmade business, there's many books and YouTube channels out there that can help with the pricing discussion. There's also Facebook groups. Like if you follow any of the pattern designers like So Sweetness or Noodlehead or Swoon, a lot of makers in those Facebook groups talk about what they charge for bags. So it's just a really good place to have that honest discussion and do the research and get the information that you need. So I hope that helps you out, and let's get back to work. Hey everyone, so that's it for this week. Let's take a look at our finished bag. It's so pretty. I love the Rifle Paper Company fabrics and the cotton+steel also. They're just beautiful. Let's see if I can show you that. So we've got our zipper here in the front with our lining fabric. I really love this combination of the darker fabric with the orange and then our beautiful teal lining fabric. So I wrote in the pattern that I am going to make this an inch longer. So this top part, the zipper, will be an inch further in. And I think I'm also, based on what happened at the top here, I'm also going to make this top stitch, or you know, where we sew the bag together on the top, I'm going to make that a 1/2 inch seam allowance instead of a 1/4. It's just fiddly. 1/4 of an inch is not enough room to account for, you know, the shifting of the panels and everything. So I think that will help that a lot. But yeah, I think it's a totally cute little purse. And it's got the crossbody strap, which is nice. So I will definitely make some more of these. We have to go through our fabric still and pick out what bags we're going to make with those. But now that I have a few set product line handbags like the Dot Dot Dash and this one, the Tower Crossbody, and also the Lola, I'd like to pick out some more fabrics to make the ones we know we like. I still have lots of patterns picked out that we haven't made yet, so we'll continue making those and experimenting with those, but I'd also like to start making the ones we know are good and make some multiples of those for the shop as well. And speaking of the shop, I didn't mean to make pricing sounds so grim, so it's not always that grim. So sometimes there's only a profit margin of $4. Sometimes there's a profit margin of 10 to 15, sometimes it's 20. So not every bag is made the same there, which is another reason why certain bags are better for the product line than others, because I do want to try and grow that profit margin, and I kind of have a range for what I think the bag would sell for. So I don't want to pick patterns that are so expensive to make. Like the Riviera bag is not, I have so many tote bag patterns, and that one just takes a lot more time and fabric. So I'll be selling the one we made, but that won't be like a regular one in the shop. So I don't really have to worry about profit margin on that so much, because that's not going to be a regular pattern that we make. So I tend to gravitate towards the patterns that really work out well with what I can charge versus what it costs to make. But obviously the labor is still the biggest issue in that, the biggest elephant in the room. But I didn't mean to make it sound so grim. There are actual bags that are making a nice profit as far as getting my material costs back. So, and I wanted to give you guys an update on the bag. So I've been making that Tobago bag that we bought the pattern for. It's super cute so far. So we've made this and the tie. I just have to attach the handle. I fudged the handle. It's supposed to be like Tunisian crochet back and forth, and I did it as one long single crochet back and forth instead, because I did not like the way the Tunisian one was turning out. But it's very cute, and then it's got like a square on the bottom to round it out. I don't know if I'm gonna line these. Yeah, I feel like they exist on their own pretty well, so that's good. And yeah, just have to attach the handle and post pictures of that for the crochet along, and then I have the second one to do as well, so we can ball that up and start that going. I don't know that I'm gonna have the Yarny updates every month. I don't seem to be accomplishing enough in a month to really talk about in a Yarny update every month. So maybe I'll just give you a little update on where we are with our crochet projects as we go along here in the normal week videos. And since we have Fridays off starting this coming week, we're gonna pick a more ambitious pattern to do next week, since we have that extra day to work on things, and also going through processing all the photos. And I forgot to mention that it's not just a matter of pricing the bags, which I just went through and did all the research for that, but we also have an inventory list. So I need to add all of these bags to the inventory list to keep track of them. And then the nice thing about Squarespace is that in the shop, it assigns an inventory number to everything. So that's really nice and takes it out of the inventory if somebody buys it. So Squarespace, other than the shipping, which is really hard, you can't do you have to do shipping per item. You can't do shipping per order, meaning like if you already added one item and then you add more items, those other items wouldn't have as much shipping attached. So I tend to have to refund some of the shipping depending on how many items somebody purchases. So that's kind of annoying. But other than that, I really like the Squarespace shop setup and how easy it is to add photos and everything. And then we also need to come up with a description for each of the bags. So that's the next thing on my list to do. So thank you for hanging out in the studio with me this week. I love it when you spend time with me. I know that you all have a very busy schedule, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. And I think that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I will catch you back here next week. Love you. Bye.
I'd call you Venus, 'cause that's how I feel. Take one step, like this song in my head. It makes sense if you jump in my bed. I see the truth in your smile. I gotta swim to the I love you. We don't wanna spend this night alone. Messed up, I'm gonna walk you home. You'd feel the gravity If I could, I would give you the moon. Say stop if I'm coming in too soon. Could